Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremiah Ellison, and I'm the chair of the Policy and Government Oversight Committee. I'm going to call to order our regular meeting for Monday, November 13th, 2023. I'll now have the clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Vita,
Present.
Chavez,
Present.
Kowski,
Present.
Councilmember Osman is absent. Vice Chair Wansley,
Present.
Chair Ellison.
Here.
We have 5 present.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. We have 17 items, and we have Councilmember Osman as well. We have 17 items on the consent agenda, which I'll now read for the record. 1 is the passage of a resolution for a gift acceptance for Cooperative Development Foundation for travel expenses. 2 is approving the 2023 property tax special assessment for delinquent utility charges. 3 is authorizing collective bargaining agreement, operating engineers local 49. 4 is authorizing agreements with Xcel Energy to purchase renewable electricity from their Renewable Connect program. 5 is authorizing programmatic agreement with the United States Army Corps of Engineers, the Minnesota State Preservation Office, and the Advisory Council of Historic Preservation regarding the conveyance of federal property at the Upper St. Anthony Lock and Dam. 6 is accepting a bid for corrosion inhibitor. 7 is authorizing contract with Roya Media LLC, DBA Vision Flourish for communications and marketing services. 8 is authorizing contract with Minnesota State College and Universities through Century College for the fire education services. 9 is authorizing a contract amendment with Innovative Masonry Restoration LLC for the Kenwood Tower Masonry project. 10 is authorizing a contract amendment with Eureka Construction, Inc. for the 37th Avenue Northeast Reconstruction Project. 11 is authorizing a contract amendment with Bituminous Roadways, Inc. for hot mix asphalt. 12 is approving a legal settlement for Khalid El-Amin versus the City of Minneapolis et al. 13 is approving a legal settlement with William Champa versus the City of Minneapolis. Items 14 through 17 are legal settlements related to workers' compensation claims. Staff have asked to postpone these items to the next cycle, so I will be forwarding them to the meeting on December 4th. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Chair Ellison. I'd like to pull out 11, and then I think you said you're not forwarding 14 through 17.
Yes, staff were not able to be here for any questions and asked that they be forwarded to the December 4th POGO meeting. Great, so we have all items before us except item number 11. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, those items are forwarded, and I will pass it back over to Councilmember Chavez to comment on item number 11.
Thank you, Chair Ellison. I can't support item number 11, especially with the recent news coming out of the East Phillips neighborhood and the Smith Foundry. The EPA said it found several violations of the Clean Air Act from the Smith Foundry. And then the EPA sent a letter to Smith Foundry stating that over the past 5 years, the foundry emitted double the amount of particle pollution allowed in the community that has led to lead emissions that could endanger human health or the environment. While this contract is not with Smith Foundries, it's right next door to it. And this specific contract has caused a lot of concerns with the residents that I represent. And one thing I want to make sure is that no matter what contracts we approve in the city, that we are doing so with care and making sure that it is actually taking care of the community it represents and not adding more pollution, especially here in the green zones. And with that said, I would just move to vote this contract down and ask that we can get more information and making sure that whatever contract we approve in the city of Minneapolis, that it is not leading to more pollution in my community.
Yeah, thank you for the comments and the motion. I'm going to call in our attorneys and if there's any staff who can speak to item number 11, I want to be supportive in making sure that we are not adding pollution to any communities. I also want to make sure that we're staying well within our legal obligations and bounds when it comes to contracting. So I'm just going to ask some questions from either staff and or our attorneys and figure out how we can address this item. But is there any staff who can speak to item number 11?
Mr. Chair, I'll maybe just start.
Yes.
Eric Nilsson, City Attorney's Office, and then I'll defer to, I see two of our Public Works personnel here. I'm glad Councilmember Chavez made it clear that This is not with the Smith Foundry, and all of the statements about the Smith Foundry are not bituminous. They're separate legal entities, separate properties, not the same thing. There's no averment that they are the same thing. The other point just to make is that this is a contract increase. It's an existing contract. And this is in the grand scheme of the contract, a relatively small increase to finish some work that needs to be done. It's my understanding that this contract would be out, the broader contract for bid next year. Public Works can speak to that. I think that's what I heard the last time this entity was before the council. So again, this is just a contract increase to an existing contract that we already have.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, Chris Dedin with Public Works, Materials Engineer. Yeah, so this contract is an increase for unforeseen overages we have for unplanned utility cuts and overruns for our quantities for things like potholes. It's for this year's contract to extend it. So I'll say if this is not extended, that means for this year, we will have roads that will be gravel patched for the remainder of this year, because we will not have a way to supply bituminous materials to patch those streets.
All right. Couple quick questions, just because I, as somebody who's represents a green zone, as somebody who's dealt with not only individual, we'll say bad actors or polluters, but also know that the community has a lot of concern in my own community about the cumulative impacts of other industries surrounding those uses. I'm sensitive to the fact that Councilmember Chavez's constituents have a lot of anxiety about this contract and what's going on here. What would be but I also don't want to sort of derail. Again, I want to better understand this item. What would be the impact of this contract if we delayed this a cycle so that I could get more information, so that we could get more information about next steps as well? Councilmember Chavez could get more information about next steps. I know this has come up before about, if we stop working with this, with industries in these areas, yada, 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 what kind of impact it would have on pollution, or wouldn't it have? Those kinds of questions are questions that I have that I don't have answers to right in this moment. If we were to delay this and take this up at the next POGO meeting, which I believe we just stated is December 4th, what would be the impact of that? Would we lose this increase? Would we, I guess I'll end the question there. What would be the impact of that if we were to just wait? So not vote it up or down today, but just wait to gather a little bit more information and take this up on December 4th.
So the contract is coming up against the cap for the contract, so
Okay.
we would overspend the contract if we were to keep patching our streets, repairing our streets, repaving our streets. So there's ramifications for that, or we could stop work and not have streets that are just not in a good shape for the winter. So a gravel street is not what you want going into the winter. It's not going to hold up well.
Right. That's a consequence for sure if we don't approve the contract. But is that, you're saying that's a consequence even if we delay it till December 4th?
I believe we have the option of running past the cap.
Okay.
What consequences that has. Overspending our budget on this particular item.
Okay. And then did you have anything to add?
Don Elwood, Director of Transportation Engineering Design for Public Works. Delaying it a cycle then pushes us another 2 weeks to get full council approval. We have a very small amount that we need to finish out the work this year. We will be bidding this material out again, a whole new bid, and we'd be more than happy to talk to you about how that process works as well. But delaying a cycle does put us into a challenge with asphalt plants closing and us making sure we can patch utility work before winter is upon us.
Okay. Thank you. That's helpful. Yeah, I feel a little caught in between trying to make sure that we can get the work of the city done and also being extremely empathetic and wanting to honor the request of one of my colleagues who actually represents the area. So that's why I'm asking so many questions and trying to reconcile that. I don't expect you to reconcile that, but the information that you're giving is super helpful. Councilmember Chavez, it looks like you have more to add.
Yeah, I understand it's extending the contract. I think one thing I want to figure out, and maybe this is more conversations with our city staff, is how we find a different contractor moving forward in the city of Minneapolis. And that's maybe not a question I can ask on the dais today, don't know the exact process, but I think it's important for at least my residents to understand what it looks like to contract with a different company that isn't in the area, in an environmental justice zone where a lot of our neighbors are rightfully frustrated with the amount of pollution that they have to inhale and breathe over the past decade, and especially given the recent reporting from the EPA on Smith Foundry, which again is separate from this, and I'll say that again, thank you, City Attorney Nielsen. It is separate from this situation, but it doesn't help that this is coming before us right now.
I could speak to that a little bit. So come 2024, our citywide asphalt purchases will be done through an open bid, public bid, low bid process. So we would not preclude any particular company from bidding. It would be up to the open market to bid on the asphalt. It's a commodities bid. And so that's kind of where we would be for 2024.
Thank you. I maybe have a question for our city attorney, or if we can get some help here. Does the council, what authority does the council have when it comes to specific contracts that we have regarding, for example, specific green zones? You know, the East Slopes neighborhood is in a green zone, is a designated zone to make sure that we're protecting the environment and air in the area. Does the council have any authority to make sure that contracts, and I'm not saying this contract does that, to be clear, but making sure that any contract in the city of Minneapolis does not increase more pollution in the area? For example, if this were to approve this year, what are our steps for the next year to address that concern?
Mr. Chair, Councilmember Chavez, I do think that's a conversation to have outside of public meeting, but in general, when a goods or service is put out for bid, a lot of it depends on how the scope is drafted of the RFP that you'd be requesting that good or service. And then depending on the results, yes, as was said, there is a state law that requires the city to take the lowest responsible bidder. And again, a lot of that goes to ultimately fulfilling your fiduciary duties as council members and representatives of all the city and its taxpayers. But again, the key words there are lowest responsible bidder, which does then relate back to how you've crafted your request for proposals.
Vice Chair Wansley.
Thank you, Chair Ellison. I do think this is probably a matter where we just need to take legislative action. I'm looking over our climate equity plan, and I do see a pathway forward where I get the legal, restraints around the contract and bidding process. But what I'm hearing from Councilmember Chavez is also acknowledging that bituminous is producing asphalt that we're using to then pave our potholes, which I get is a city service. It's also known in the environmental analysis world that asphalt is also a great contributor to pollution. And as you're highlighting, that pollution is actually happening within our green zones. So this does feel like this is an avenue to work with maybe the sustainability department within public health to really look at how we can do right here in the climate equity plan on page 29, where it says strategy air, the section addressing air pollution, is to study, mitigate, and reduce outdoor and indoor air pollution to improve health outcomes in Minneapolis, with a focus on the green zones and other neighborhoods and households experiencing cumulative air quality impacts. So this feels like maybe this is an area of the climate equity plan where we have a blind spot, where we do need to address some of these industrial polluters or components. Like, we need to study how do we create alternatives to asphalt that is a great contributor to pollution and concentrated pollution in one of our most vulnerable communities. And this gives us a pathway to do that. This might be a legislative directive that can help us figure out what amendment language could be. So it's actually codified in our climate equity goals for the next coming years. That way, staff, you're not put in a place of having to, be responsive to bids that, yes, there are some legal restraints on, and we can actually operate from a place of policy decisions that then hopefully shapes how we do contracts and bidding differently as it pertains to our climate equity goals. So I would just encourage, I'm absolutely more than willing to support Councilmember Chavez and working with, again, it seems like health and sustainability that has been owning our climate equity work, the city attorneys to really think through what is some legislative actions we can take that builds upon the climate equity plan to address what you're talking about, the needs of your community. I do, support in the decision of not wanting to continue on. I will be abstaining on this vote, but it's clear there needs to be legislative action taken around the issue that you're raising. And I just want to flag what's a potential pathway forward on that.
Thank you, Vice Chair Wansley, and I'm all in on that. I think your observation is right, that there's two conversations. There's the $45,000 that am I reading that right? That we are considering right now, and that's 48,000. That's a part of a larger 11.25 million to finish this work. I am very reluctantly because I recognize the larger issue, gonna support getting this amount of money passed today. But I do think that we, as somebody who's representing a green zone and understands Councilmember Chavez's constituents who are concerned about the cumulative impacts of having all of these uses so close to each other, and one's caught, and I know that we've got to be considered about what's strictly legal and what we can prove, but the community has concerns, broader concerns, even when maybe somebody has not been caught by a regulator. They have concerns about, well, what if these things are having an accumulative impact? And so those are kind of the two conversations that are happening. Councilmember Chavez does have a motion before us to vote this down. I'm gonna take up that motion if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to rescind your motion, I can move for approval. And
I will rescind my motion, yes, and I will be voting against this motion, but I do hope to work with my colleagues on the dais, making sure we can address this issue moving forward. I think my community just wants a solution, and I think that based on Councilor Wansley's comments, I think that we can find that answer to this, and I'm excited to work with all of you to make sure we can figure this out for the coming year. So.
Absolutely. Vice Chair Wansley.
Yes, just recognizing, again, I think there's discomfort in taking action on this. Could there also just be the motion to move this forward without recommendation? Yeah. Okay.
Well, we could move this without recommendation. So, and I don't want to steal your motion. Okay,
I'm making the motion.
Okay, great.
Sure.
On Councilmember Wansley's motion to move forward without recommendation, maybe clerks, we can just call the roll on that.
Councilmember Vital,
Aye.
Chavez,
Aye.
Kowski,
Aye.
Osmond,
Aye.
Vice Chair Wansley,
Aye.
and Chair Ellison.
Aye.
We have 6 ayes.
All right, and that is moved without approval to full council. Thank you guys for the discussion. Staff, thank you for the presentation. I know we're asking you to talk about more than just the contract before us, but all these things sort of intersect with one another, so thank you. All right. Our next item is a presentation related to a set of ARPA fund reallocations within the CPED department. And so I'll now invite staff to share a presentation on the programs being funded. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Ellison, Vice Chair Wansley, and members of the council. My name is Devin Pullman. I'm on the budget team. I'm here to discuss item 18 on the agenda. I'm joined by a number of representatives from CPED, as well as some external partners are with us today here in the audience as well. This item does relate to a recommendation for reallocation of American Rescue Plan Act funds, all entirely within the CPED department. But we want to be transparent about what we're recommending, the principles by which we are making these recommendations, and why we are making these recommendations before you today. In terms of managing our ARPA program, we're continuing to work closely with departments to manage ARPA funding. The first funding allocations were made and appropriations were made in 2001. We are getting ready to close the door on 2023. We still have a month and a few days left, but we're getting closer to 2024 as we go. And what that means is we are starting to bump up against some of Treasury's obligation deadlines. So Treasury does require that we fully obligate all of our dollars to the final obligated projects by the end of December of 2024. So we envision kind of making any adjustments throughout next year, and we're starting to really manage the funding usage quite carefully so that we can achieve full optimization and utilization of the funds, and wherever possible, doing that for the original intent of the appropriations that were recommended and made by this council. As we move into some of these funding deadlines, every time we have made a change in terms of recommended funding for an ARPA project, we have brought that back in a transparent way, and hence that's what we're here to do today as well. CPED within our city departments is the department that had the largest number of ARPA projects funded, so they had over 30 projects funded. Of the $271 million in ARPA funding, they received about $52 million, and that's a lot of investment and strategic investment and desire to make sure we are stabilizing and improving access to housing and homeownership to residents throughout our city. They do have the highest number of initiatives that have been funded with ARPA funds of any department. So second behind CPED is the health department. These recommendations today have a net neutral impact on the ARPA budget within CPED, so we aren't changing CPED's overall allocation of ARPA dollars. So specifically, we're recommending reallocating funds from within CPED to increase funding for 4 projects through decreased funding for 5 projects. And the primary reason for the recommendation in that decrease, often in many cases, and I'll go through the very specifics here as well with you today, but projects are starting to close out. And as some projects are starting to close out, in some cases there's residual remaining funds. So at the time the initial appropriations or allocations were made, and an estimated budget was made, and then as a project moved forward to completion or rehab, in some cases there were some savings, for example. And I'll talk about the specifics of each of those projects and sort of how the money has flowed and why we're making this collective batch of recommendations here today. And again, in an effort to optimize the use of funds, we really followed 3 key principles with advancing these recommendations before you today. If funds can be repurposed for a similar use, such as in the case with the recommendation as it relates to homelessness, as well as preservation of housing, those recommendations are being advanced here today. The second principle we used is if there was a different additional leverage brought to the table, that's the case with respect to foreclosure assistance. The state launched a large statewide COVID-19 relief program subsequent to when the ARPA allocations were initially made for that specific project and purpose within CPED, so we were better able to leverage broader statewide funding. We're recommending continuing to support with funding homeownership activities and to advance new homeowners through the community land trust model here in the city. Third, we have this example where there are some residual funds that can be repurposed, so contracts have been fully executed and that work completed. That's the case with respect to 2 projects in the economic development realm, and we are recommending reallocating some of those residual dollars from 2 projects to the BTAP and DTAP program, where there's been just high demand. Kind of with the department that's had the largest number of projects funded, we have also been able to realize and actualize some projects that have been very successful. And so if there's a way to optimize that, again, that's consistent with those principles of the original allocations of funding, or with optimizing the use of any remaining dollars, we want to bring those before you so that our partners and our CPED team have sufficient time to allocate these dollars in the next calendar year. Specific funding recommendations are as follows. First, I'll cover the 4 projects we're recommending increasing funding for and talk about where the decreases are recommended to come from as well. We're recommending increasing funding for homelessness for the Envision pilot by $267,259 to just over a total of $1.467 million. This would come from a decrease in the appropriation to the shelter rehabilitation project by that $267,259. Rehabilitation is complete for the 3 shelter projects, so that is effectively closed out. The scope of the rehab work, the estimate ended up being slightly higher than what was actually needed to complete that shelter rehabilitation work for 3 shelters. Hope Street Shelter by Catholic Charities, Haven Housing, and People Serving People, and the funds can continue to be optimized to support a human-centered approach to homelessness through the reallocation of funds to the Envision project. which would increase housing stock for people with lived experiences of homelessness. The second area we're making a recommendation to is to increase funding to preserve subsidized affordable housing for Heritage Park. That project, and we're making a recommendation to increase funding by $500,000 to $857,000 for that particular project. This would come through a decrease in the appropriation to the Naturally Occurring Affordable Housing Preservation, also known as NOAA, fund. Recommend decreasing that from $1 million to $500,000. Overall, the purpose remains the same in terms of preserving units. Here, we're actually gaining preservation of subsidized units that need additional stabilization. And the CPED team is recommending this change to allow us to optimize, again, preserving those subsidized units, recognizing that the NOAA work on behalf of the city will continue, both through the current allocation through the ARPA funding, as well as through funding budget recommendations through the general fund for that purpose. The third recommendation relates to increasing funding for community land trust homeownership through the Housing Stabilization Land Trust. We recommend increasing funding by $750,000 there. That would bring the total funding for that project up to $1.75 million. Again, this would come from a decrease in that appropriation to the Assist Homeowners at Risk of Foreclosure project. We would decrease that by the $750,000 from $1.5 million to $750,000. And again, at the time this project was initially recommended for funding, the foreclosure project, the state COVID relief program was not out. Subsequently, the state program has been reached full utilization and optimization, and there's a ready pipeline of homeowners wanting and able and willing to purchase community land trust homes. So it feels like this is a good way to continue with that principle of homeownership while meeting current pipeline and demand and leveraging other federal dollars for foreclosure prevention relief. The fourth area relates to increasing funding for the BTAP-DTAP program by just over $51,000. It would bring the total recommended project funding up to $1,151,282. This really comes from decreases in appropriations from two other economic development programs. One just had a residual of just over $11,000 left. It had an initial $1 million appropriation. That's just what's left once the contracts had been completed. Similarly, the other project, the Cultural District I can't say that word. Sorry. The Cultural District Technical Assistance Fund also just had some residual funding left over. And again, recommending making sure we're optimizing that funding to support the BTAP-DTAP program. And we anticipate the DTAP program in particular, which serves emerging developers, to have a significant need for funding. I know when we met at agenda setting, there was a particular, I think, interest around the Envision project and just learning a little bit more about that. It is designed to be an intentional community for people with lived experience of homelessness who are really integrated into the design and planning of that community. It does intend to provide smaller footprint, square footage homes to serve people experiencing homelessness. The project, again, was funded in the initial round of ARPA funding allocations. And with this recommendation to shift ARPA funds, they are better able to help fill some funding gaps in that particular project. And again, we do have representatives from CPED as well as that project itself here today if you have other specific questions or wish to drill down further. I know, I think there are some other opportunities moving forward in the coming months and in 2024 where you'll actually hear more about that specific project as well. And then again, with that, I'm happy to open it up to questions for me or anyone on the CPED team. So that concludes my remarks.
Well, thank you for the presentation. And I know that there's a lot of interest in a lot of these things, and there's a lot of interest in the ARPA funding in general. And so I think having this presentation so we can be transparent about with the public, about what's happening and where money's coming and going from, I think is really important. And I'll see if my colleagues have questions in a moment, but it's also really encouraging to hear, there was sort of some negative press on what might happen with the future of Envision, but it sounds like our intention is to support this project and to see this project to fruition, and that's really encouraging to hear as well. And so excited to get more news on that as things progress. So I'll see if my colleagues have any questions. Councilmember Vita.
Thank you, Chair Ellison. No questions, but just a few comments. I agree with Chair Ellison that it's exciting to see where the future of Envision goes. You know, we've heard these negative things. So thank you so much for including this. I actually got goosebumps when you were reading off this list of things that we're going to reallocate this money to. I think this checks the list. There's checks for all of these things for me. I know it's going to be a great asset to the community. DTAP and BTAP, I have so many developers of color who benefit from this program. I really hope that this $51,000 gets more people in the program. You know, the funding around home ownership with the land trust and helping folks who may be in trouble with finances for their homes, that's really important in our communities right now. So thank you so much for thinking of it this way and really looking at what we had available. It feels like it was looked at and thought, we won't be sending this money back. There's better ways there's better ways for us to use it. And I'm here for that. I love when people think of the broader community and how we can spend every dollar towards the betterment of our community. So thank you.
I see no further questions. I guess I'll just add one last thing, which is that economic recovery it's dollars on a sheet here, right? But we know that it's housing security and dignity for a lot of people. We know that it is, economic, mobility for a lot of people when we're looking at our developer and business technical assistance programs, and these things contribute to public safety. They contribute to all these other realms, and so I really appreciate the work and the presentation. So thank you for all of this. Thank you for laying this out for us. And with that, I think we've concluded this discussion. So thank you so much.
I just want to take 1 minute and say thank you to all of you, but I really want to acknowledge the leadership of the staff of CPED and the partners, because I think they are stewarding these funds incredibly well and incredibly in a meaningful way. And they're the day-to-day partners at the city who are trying to advance these principles. So I just want to really acknowledge that team.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Seeing no further discussion, I will move approval of this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And that item is approved. Our next item is a presentation related to a contract with New York University School of Law for the implementation of the Safe and Thriving Communities Report. I'll now invite staff to share a presentation on the report. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chair Ellison, council members. I'm here today to provide a presentation on reimagining public safety, implementing the Safe and Thriving Communities Report, with the request for council to approve a single source contract with New York University School of Law's The Policing Project. So in the way of some background, in 2020, city leadership connected with Dr. Antonio Aftali to start the process of forecasting a vision for safety beyond policing and a forward-looking plan for a comprehensive community safety system here in Minneapolis. The work led to the development of the Safe and Thriving Communities Report, a vision and action plan for the future. Released in July of 2023, the Safe and Thriving Communities Report aims to promote safer communities through recommendations that bolster preventative services, expand responsive services, and develop restorative services to deliver a more fair, equitable, and transparent outcomes for all Minneapolis residents. Staff went through the permanent review committee process and were informed that our single source contracts request meets the grounds for a waiver, and I'm here today seeking council approval to enter into that single source contract with the New York University School of Law's Policing Project to begin the initial implementation activities of the Safe and Thriving Communities Report. So the need, as we sort of talk about the report as a whole and take a step back, the report really provides a blueprint for a service delivery ecosystem that leverages existing community resources and emerging national best practices for a new public safety model. Since the report's release, city leadership has demonstrated strong support for its implementation and expressed both the need for urgency to begin moving forward on that implementation. So what is our approach? Performance Management Innovation collaborates with residents, city departments, elected officials, organizations, community partners, businesses, and stakeholders to push for bold new ideas and create a culture of data-driven, community-centered service delivery in Minneapolis. I'm a member of the infrastructure team here in the Office of Community Safety's Design and Implementation team. Our portfolio has included alternative police response programming, community safety initiatives, and leading the Reimagining Public Safety campaign. Supporting the initial implementation fits within the enterprise's ongoing efforts to reimagine public safety and those alternative police responses. Supporting the development of the city's new model is really going to be a continuation of that work. And so then how are we going to move that forward? So the report itself calls on PMI specifically in quite a few areas to lead that work. And our focus in these 4 areas of research, performance management, community engagement and resilience, and innovation really allow us to support that work and to help build capacity across the enterprise and to begin that important foundation building. From our collaboration, PMI in partnership with the Office of Community Safety, Design and Implementation team, can begin developing a strategic long-term implementation plan across the continuum of services. So who is our partner? A little bit about the policing project. We are seeking a single source contract in this instance because understanding the significant time that both the policing project and Dr. F. DeLee's team have put into analyzing public safety systems generally and Minneapolis specifically, they came to as the only organizations that could support the city's work on this topic without months of additional background work and have really, again, been pivotal, Dr. F. DeLee, pivotal in the co-authoring of the report itself. Informational meetings were completed to understand the readiness of the policing project and their alignment with our approach, with the city's approach. And then after discussions, staff concluded that they were well positioned to move the city's community safety design implementation work forward, again, using Minneapolis, the Safe and Thriving Communities Report as our foundation. So the policing project works in a couple of different areas. Their mission is to partner with communities and police to promote public safety through transparency, equity, and democratic engagement. The policing project is designed to support strong, healthy, and safe communities and to end an over-reliance on police. Their focus areas are around reimagining public safety, neighborhood policing, legislation, advancing women in policing, use of technology, and litigation. They have been conducting in-depth, on-the-ground research on alternative responses across the country, working with community members, municipal stakeholders, police officers, leadership, alternative responders, 911 operators, and municipal staff, and others. They go issue by issue and provide guidance for cities who seek to redesign their systems. They've learned across several cities so far, including Denver, San Francisco, Tucson, and Chicago, leading that national effort to redesign systems. Through this work, they developed a holistic response model to address the panoply of problems to which we send police every day. Given the policing project's subject matter expertise in analyzing safety systems and their engagement with report co-author Dr. Antonio F. DeLee, they were the only organization positioned to move the city, start the city moving forward in the redesign and initial implementation of the report. So what is the scope of work? The scope of work is in these 4 areas, and I'll sort of go into them separately, but it's around performance management, analysis, subject matter expertise, and innovation. So the first, as I mentioned, is engaging report co-author Dr. Antonio F. DeLee. He has been researching best practices and innovations involving police, health, and human services, documenting promising cross-disciplinary collaboration, and developing recommendations for an ecosystem. As one of the authors, he provided his, conducted a series of interviews with many government partners and community organizations over the 2-year development of the report. The other area of focus for the policing project is to perform an analysis of the city's service continuum. So first in that is determining what assets the city has that can be leveraged or expanded. And some of those are outlined, in the report. Identify resource gaps that the city must address in order to both scale existing initiatives and develop new programs. And then to continue the work analyzing calls for service to identify opportunities for expansion of alternative non-police response. Lastly, they will serve as a subject matter expert and advisor in the area of alternative response, data analysis, outcomes measurement, and visualization as we pursue our analytics systems and work streams, really building up that infrastructure. And they will do that by advising on the build-out of comprehensive performance metrics, supporting the development of a public-facing dashboard to promote accountability and transparency, and advise on performance metrics. The policing project and their collaboration with Dr. Antonio Aftali will help lay the foundation for the city to begin an integrated, coordinated, and comprehensive approach to safety that will guide our work into the future. We will refine our scope with the policing project if we receive council approval to move forward with the single source contract. So again, what is that impact? It is again laying that foundation and starting the initial implementation of the Safe and Thriving Communities report. This collaborative work will help support the development of performance management infrastructure as we build that up, and community engagement strategy to help to contribute to the outcomes outlined for performance management and innovation. And then also with a focus on asset management and program analysis across the continuum of preventative, responsive, and restorative services, the policing project's recommendations will also contribute to the ongoing work of the Office of Community Safety and Design's team as they develop the spectrum of community safety services that could be provided at the Community Safety Center to meet the unique needs of our residents. So the request today is for the committee to approve the single source contract with the policing project and forward it on to council for final approval. I am happy to stand for questions.
Thank you for the presentation. I'll see if there's any discussion from my colleagues. And we have Vice Chair Wansley.
It's not on. Thank you, Chair Allison. Thank you, Director, for coming forward with giving us a bit more overview over the implementation process. I guess first, very interested to know somewhat timeline of reporting that the new council can expect in terms of updates from this particular implementation team in partnership with Dr. Oftelli and the New York School. I know last year as it pertained to the Safe and Thriving Communities report and really development of the comprehensive side of OCS, we didn't get as frequent reporting that we probably should have. So just wanted to get a sense of where we could expect some updates going into the next year.
Yeah. Chair Ellison, Councilmember Wansley, thank you for that question. I think as we look across what the reporting could look like, and specifically this contract, the single source contract with NYU, is part of a larger sort of picture, right? And as it relates to the Office of Community Safety and what will come from the development of a strategic long-term plan as things roll out, and what that communication and report cadence looks like. So I would turn that over to see if Commissioner Barnett has any follow-up that you would like to share.
Good afternoon. Councilmember Wansley, Councilmember Ellison. My understanding is that the Office of Community Safety at least reports to the council quarterly. So you can at least expect reports out of the office specifically to what we're doing in this area in design and implementation quarterly, or even more than that. It just depends on where we're at and what, when working with this partnership, what information we would have to give you that would be new besides what you get in the quarterly reports.
Okay. Thank you. And then interested in this component of the innovation side, since NYU, it seems like Dr. Oftelli will be supporting this too in terms of scope of work. And I know I asked you, this director too, of how is this interfacing with the pilot work that PMI was already leading. I know there have been applications for federal dollars that's currently pending right now to support. It seems like that scope will this partnership be supporting that, or these are kind of two separate projects in terms of the implementation of Safe and Thriving and that federal alternative problem nature code study?
Are you saying what, I'm sorry, Councilmember Wants, are you saying what's coming out of PMI?
So prior
Or-
to you getting here, there was already PMI leading alternative problem nature code response initiatives. They had applied for federal dollars to support the analysis of that work. I believe that was coming straight through PMI. That seems like work that is also listed here, so just wanted to see if there's overlapping or are these somewhat separate projects since that came beforehand.
All right, I'll let the director answer that.
Chair Ellison, Councilmember Wansley, I think it's a complement to, so we are waiting to hear back from the Department of Justice on that grant. It's an earmark grant, so we have not yet had that money released to us. We are still going through that process and would be before you again if we are able to come and ask to accept, if in fact we are when that happens. I think we all hope that is. It was originally for an award of up to $2.5 million, but again, we are still negotiating the budget with the federal grant manager in that case. I would agree that it is, again, a work to complement it. This single source contract is to, again, really assess those gaps, understand across the service continuum what things could be provided, and then that money could be used, because it is, again, for the expansion of alternative response, figure out as we look at, again, the services and the focus areas of performance management innovation where we may be able, right, to rapidly prototype. We would come up with examples based on the analysis and what, again, in the service continuum those offerings could use that money because to complement the work of the implementation. But again, the contract itself, is focused on helping us understand what we could go out and Commissioner Barnett has spoken about really that community engagement. So what we could then go out and to better understand what innovation projects PMI could start supporting as it relates to rapid prototyping, assessment, building off of existing successful programs, which are outlined, in the report.
Thank you. And then speaking of funding and money, so this contract is using existing PMI dollars to cover the $1 million of the 2-year contract. That's just for the implementation team. Let's say from that, one of the continuums of service recommendations is victim services. Mm-hmm. That would be a different funding thing that this body or the enterprise will have to figure out how to support, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Is there any other discussion from my colleagues? Oh, Councilmember Vita.
Thank you, Chair Ellison. Just quickly wanted to say this is impressive. I'm excited that we're starting this work. The entire time I've been on this council, we've been talking about who's going to lead it, how we're going to get it done. And so I'm excited that you've presented before us, and I'm even more excited to get these updates and see the progress we're making. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I echo that as well. And we have been joined by Councilmember Rainville, and I wanted to see if you had anything that you wanted to contribute or just here to listen with the rest of us.
Thank you for recognizing me, Chair Ellison. I just came here to listen, but and to take the lead from Councilmember Vita, I do want to thank Kira and all the staff that's sitting there. Dr. Affatelli, so nice to see you again. And I have been hearing about this for the 2 years I've been on the council. It's very, very exciting to move forward, especially when I look at the talent sitting in the front row there. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'll just echo the thank you for the presentation and there's a lot of public interest in this work. And so that means that there's going to be tough questions alongside the thank yous, and that means that there's going to be challenges, and that means that we're going to get to celebrate our wins in this work as well. But it is really encouraging to see the direction that we're moving in, and so just want to thank you for the presentation and thank all of you for being here. It's a tremendous amount of capacity, to Councilmember Rainville's point, that we're seeing in this room. So thank you. Seeing no further discussion, I will move approval of this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Great, that item is approved. Thank you all for being here. And with that, we've concluded all business to come before the committee today. And with no objections, we are adjourned.